All right, today we're going to talk about the risk versus the reward of running your own business or advancing in your career working for someone else. Because a lot of people will tell you that if you run your own business, there's a lot of risk but very high reward. And if you are working for someone else, there's very low risk and maybe medium reward. And those are the differences, but that's not actually the case. And today we're going to illustrate why. Okay, so if you start your own business, yes, when you first start, there is a ton of risk and low reward because everything is on the line. You put everything into it, maybe even personally, financially, and you're hoping that your business model takes off. But if you have a successful company and the reward grows, you don't actually end up here where there's a ton of reward with really high risk. You're actually going to be offloading your risk along the way. And we're going to talk about why in a second. So this doesn't exist. If you start your career working for somebody else, the risk is very low, the reward is very low. But if you advance in your career all the way up to the top position, and you are in the C suites and the reward goes all the way up, it's not down here. This actually doesn't exist either because there is no such thing as high reward and no risk in this lifetime. It's more like this. Say if you're advancing your career, every time you get a promotion and your reward goes up, like that, so does your risk. Okay. Maybe you go along, now you've been promoted to manager. And then once again, you get promoted, you're director. Your risk goes up proportional to the reward every time. So now you've gone along your career and you have been promoted all the way to, say, vice president or C-suite or something like that. Every time that promotion happens, your risk goes up. Ask anybody who has been part of a company, they've advanced really high up and that company is bought, or, there's a merger or there's a return to work and you're just looking for a career change. There's not a lot of these roles around. Some people are seeing that they're having to take 3, 6, 12 months to find a similar role. And even if they apply for a role at this level somewhere else, they're having a hard time getting in because those companies know they've been rewarded at this level and they're worried about keeping them happy. So that's where you end up in your career. And if you're running your own business and the business is doing well, every time that you make a key hire or you promote from within, and when I talk about somebody key in your organization, these are people that you trust. Every time you do that, your risk goes down. So as the reward grows and you're hiring or promoting key people in the organization, your risk is coming down. Right? And there's actually kind of a middle point. And this is where you want to live. Okay. This is the place to live where you have medium risk, high reward. Yes, running your own business, you have sacrificed some of the reward in order to reduce the risk, but it's nearly impossible to try to even do this anyway, because you need people like this to have a strong functional organization where the reward is sustainable and continues into the future. My path was I started working up my career. And then I made the jump at one point, probably from like right here. And I didn't go all the way here because I had made relationships along the way. I probably jumped from this to somewhere in here and then started to grow the business. I had those first initial clients based on relationships and a proof of concept. And then I started to grow the business and brought on those key hires, promoted from within, and found my way here. So these can be a little bit interchangeable. Say if you're growing your business and the worst case scenario happens, there's a change in a market or competitor comes in, undercuts you or any of those things, and you have to, unfortunately wind down the business, you can parlay that into a position here because companies are looking for people who know how to run a business from end to end to bring in to manage departments. So these can be a little bit interchangeable. So when you're thinking about the risk versus reward of running your own business versus growing in a career, know that it can be both. And it's important to keep that in mind as you're progressing so that if you need to make a quick pivot, you're ready to do so.